Hello.
Hello. That was a quick count. You surprised me.
It's been a while, but we're back.
It has been some time.
Holiday season, I was always busy, so took a little break.
Yeah, December's like busy for everybody. Lexi and Charles get busy the whole month. Well, they decided to, get married and have a kid in the same month. Yeah. So that's their own doing.
And then it's my birthday month too. So
Yeah, it is your birthday month. And then my sister decided let's have a baby shower as well.
Yep.
So just
so much.
And then every year they're like, oh, Christmas is in December too. And I'm like, can we push it back just a little bit, or
can we have it in June?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
But we're back. Another episode of Speaking Spatter.
I'm Amber.
I'm Josh.
And we're happy you're listening with us today.
Yeah. And so we have an interesting case today, one that's pretty relevant, I guess, given the recent events that have happened. So if you want to just take us away, we're into it.
I feel like everybody's talking about it, so we got to talk about it too. I'm going to talk about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. My sources today were a people.com article titled A Timeline of Gypsy Rose Blanchard Murder Case and Release from Prison. Biography.com article, The Story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard and Her Mother. Our dearly beloved Wikipedia, which if you can go donate $2 to them, that'd be very great.
Nice.
And then I've watched it before, but on Max, HBO Max, there's a documentary called Mommy, Dead and Dearest that came out several years ago. I don't know if you've watched it.
No, I've seen parts of that movie. I think, I don't know, maybe my mom or somebody was watching it.
Yeah.
So I've seen part of it. So I know a little bit about Gypsy Rose, but not the full story. I just think her mom's kind of a psychopath. So let's not give her any more fame. But, sometimes we got to know the case. So
Right. Yeah. Well, fuck me in my case. I'll go home, Josh. I get it.
It's over.
So HBO, Mommy, Dead and Dearest. I watched that as well. Again,
rewatched it.
Rewatched.
Okay.
All right. So let's start with Claudine, otherwise known as Dee Dee Blanchard. She was born on May 3rd, 1967, and she passed away on June 14th, 1919. She passed away on June 14th, 2015. Relatives recalled that she had a habit of stealing from her family, and then they also speculated it was like a form of retaliation when things didn't go her way. So she always had problems from a young age. In the documentary, they said as a kid that she was into witchcraft, which is an interesting point. The family also went on to say that she opened up credit cards in other people's names, that she was dirty and didn't really take care of her
her hygiene and all that?
Yeah, her hygiene.
Okay.
And she was actually arrested a few times for writing bad checks.
So she was just a, what do they call it? A white collar crime type of person.
Yeah. Her family also accused her of poisoning her stepmom and waiting up at night to see if she died. And some believe she actually did poison her mom, who did pass away. It's in the documentary. It's her dad and her stepmom sitting there talking, and the stepmom's like, "Yeah, no, she definitely tried to poison me, and would at one time at night I got up and I stumbled, and she came to check, and she, was kind of disappointed that she wasn't dead."
What the?
Yeah.
And they believe she poisoned her mom, her actual mom.
Yeah, they believed she actually did because her mom. I forget what they said that her mom passed away from, but it was could have also been poisoning.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So just kind of inconclusive.
Mm-hmm. When Dee Dee did pass away, the family was asked how they felt when they heard that she had passed. And some of them said they didn't believe it, as though it was just another one of her antics, somebody calling them and being Dee Dee's dead.
Yeah.
But her actually not being dead. But when they heard that Gypsy was okay and that Dee Dee was actually dead, it took a few days for the news to sink in. And they didn't even want her, when her body was cremated, they called her dad, and her dad was like, "I don't want it."
They didn't want the ashes.
Yeah. Which is kind of sad.
Hey, you reap what you sow, I guess.
Right. So a little bit more background on Dee Dee. At some point in her early adult life, she worked as a nurse's aide. So she did have some medical background and history, which like kind of feeds into all of the things that she would do to Gypsy. So that brings us to the beginning of our story. July 27th, 1991, Gypsy Rose was born. Gypsy's parents were Rod and Dee Dee, and Rod and Dee Dee first met when they were in high school, and they got married when they found out they were pregnant. He was only 17, and Dee Dee was 24.
Oh, Jesus.
Right.
And he didn't run for the hills after knowing all this stuff about her?
No. He like, in the documentary, he was like, I just did what I thought was right, and that's the path that I was kind of on, so I just went with it.
Okay.
They did eventually separate shortly after Gypsy was born in 1991. And Dee Dee did try to stay in touch with him and tell him that like his daughter was sick and had chromosomal disorder, and try to communicate things to him, but he didn't really like respond or have any thing to do with it. And in October 1991, when Gypsy was 3 months old, Dee Dee believed that she had a sleep apnea, and so she took Gypsy to the hospital. The doctors ran test after test after test, and they didn't find that anything was wrong. So this, like, her Munchausen started, like, almost the second she was born.
What's it called?
Munchausen's by proxy.
Munchausen's by proxy.
Yeah, I'll refer to it as Munchausen's, though, because it's like 7 syllables.
Munchausen's by proxy. Okay, yeah, Munchausen's. Got it.
In 1999, when Gypsy was 8 years old, Dee Dee started saying that she was suffering from leukemia and muscular dystrophy. And that's why she required a wheelchair and feeding tube. And then the list of medication problems that Dee Dee related back to her doctor would include medications for like seizures, asthma, hearing impairments, and visual impairments.
Like all this is what her daughter has. Like she's saying she's visually impaired, hearing.
Yeah, that she has seizures, that she has asthma, that
Jesus. And
hearing
leukemia.
Impairment, leukemia, muscular dystrophy, which required the wheelchair and feeding tube.
Okay, got it.
Due to Dee Dee's actions, Gypsy was prescribed an itinerary of medications and had to sleep using a breathing machine, even though she didn't need it. Gypsy said that when she had her feeding tube, her mother would give her medications through the tube. So it wasn't like she could even stop her or be like, no, I don't want to take these. Like from a young age, having the feeding tube and watching her mom give her medications through it to when she got older, and then her mom would just hand her the medications to take. Like she knew that was her normal.
Got it. Just a routine.
Right. Gypsy had multiple surgeries, including procedures on her eyes, and the removal of her salivary glands. It's like she didn't have her glands to salivate. And that was just like one of the things that Dee Dee was like, well, no, we need to do this. We need to take this out because of this, and this reason.
How is she convincing doctors to perform these things if, like, she doesn't really need them? Like, is that an elective surgery? I would not imagine getting rid of your salivation glands is...
Well, if you go in and you tell your doctor, like, I'm having these symptoms, I'm having these symptoms, I'm having these symptoms, at some point, one doctor is going to do something for you.
Okay.
And especially if you like are bouncing from doctor to doctor and you're like, the doctors don't believe me. I need somebody to believe me. And they're like, okay, well, what if we try this? We can take out your glands and see if that works. We can do a surgery
crazy.
on your eyes to see if that helps. Because even though like in the test, she might not be doing anything. If Dee Dee tried to, when she would report back, she'd be like, but it's still happening at home. Like your test must be wrong. Test her again. Things like that.
That's so crazy. Like I would think like if you want to do eye surgery, like it's like she has to fail this test before we can even think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even if you're like, oh, it's happening at home, it's like, well, we're testing her here every time and it's fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, but again, I think that's also the American healthcare system just wants to make money. So you make money off all those surgeries.
Yep.
Anyways,
in August 2005, so they lived in They lived in NOLA. They lived in New Orleans. So in 2005, August, when Hurricane Katrina hit, it reportedly destroyed their house. When they went to a shelter, Dee Dee claimed that all of Gypsy's medical records, including her birth certificate, were destroyed in the hurricane, and that only helped build Dee Dee's story, because she was like, well, she has it, I just don't have the records because it was destroyed in the hurricane. And then because her birth certificate was also destroyed, Dee Dee was able to lie about Gypsy's age. So there would be times where she would say that she was like 3 or 4 years younger than she actually was.
Wow.
Yeah. In 2008, Dee Dee and Gypsy relocate to Springfield, Missouri. When Gypsy was 14, she saw a neurologist in Missouri who came to believe that she was a victim of Munchausen's syndrome by proxy. However, this doctor never reported the case to authorities. In later interviews, he stated his belief was that there wasn't enough evidence to act. And in the HBO documentary, there's an interview from him, and he states that he knew he was going to get shut down by the social workers, because social workers are looking for neglect and not overtreating. So he was like, I can tell she's being overtreated. He was like, but I don't have enough evidence to be like, she's overtreating her and it's dangerous. Yeah, it's getting dangerous. Whereas like social workers back then, I'm hopefully now they also look for overtreating, but it's a lot easier to prove a case of neglect than it is to prove a case of overtreating.
Right. Because I guess in their eyes, it'd be like, oh, she's just doing what any parent or any mother would do, like treating their sick child.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, like Dee Dee was seen as like such a good advocate. She was described by like all the doctors as like, she advocates for her daughter. She makes sure her daughter gets what she needs. Like, she doesn't let the doctors tell her that she's making it up.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, and maybe you can let me know if you're getting into it, but is it just, for her, was it just control? Is that all that is? Like why, like, do they ever know why she does these kind of things?
They never really know why. But like with most Munchausen's by proxy cases, it's like a need to control, or like a need to be seen as like this amazing caregiver person. So they will be like, oh yeah, you have seizures, and you'll never believe what happened the other day.
Right.
And then like come up with some crazy story.
Got it.
And then be like, no, that actually happened. And
so like anything, it's there. Like you're feeding your own ego. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Dee Dee, with being an overtreater, with doing all these things, it just like the spotlight wasn't big enough to convince that this was a form of abuse. In 2009, an anonymous report was made to authorities stating that Dee Dee's accounts of Gypsy's like ailments had no medical like background or like evidence. And that led to 2 caseworkers actually visiting their home, but Dee Dee convinced them that there was nothing wrong. Like, master manipulator.
A sociopath.
In 2011, Gypsy met a 35-year-old man at a science fiction convention, and then that they began communicating online.
Okay.
So one night they decided to get together, and Dee Dee found them and showed them newspapers claiming that Gypsy was only a minor, and ended their relationship right there. So what happened was this Gypsy met this guy at this fair, and they like got together one night to go to like, he came back into town and picked her up, and they went to this hotel room, and then online, Gypsy's mom got online and started like talking to her friends that she had online and being like, where's my daughter? And that's how she ended up finding them and being able to be like, look, Gypsy is not of age. This is creepy. Give me my daughter back.
Even though she was of age at the time.
Well, it's 2000.
Is she of age?
2011. She was born in 91, so she would have been.
Oh, should have been 20.
20.
Yeah. So she was of age. Mm-hmm. But she, like you said with her birth certificate, she was able to change her age.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's 4 years, he's like, oh, she's 16.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then according to Gypsy, when they had Dee Dee like got her back from this guy, and they went home. Dee Dee had like smashed her computer and said that she like would never be able to go online again, and then physically restrained her to her bed. And then Gypsy also said that her mother would sometimes hit her and deny her food, and that like that happened after that as well.
Okay.
Eventually, Gypsy did manage to get back online. I'm not sure how she got another computer, but she joined a Christian dating site where she met Nicholas Godijan. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Just refer to him as Nick or Nicholas.
Nicholas.
And she told him the truth about
those Nicholases are trouble.
I know. I've got one in my life. Yeah. It's crazy.
Anyways.
She said that she told Nick everything that was going on and like how Dee Dee was lying about everything. And she asked him to kill Dee Dee so they could be together. Because that was in her mind, that was the only way for her to get out. Because she tried to get out before and her mother came back and it was crazy. So they met in 2015. On June 9th, 2015, Gypsy's boyfriend Nick went to meet up with her and waited until Gypsy gave him like the signal that Dee Dee was sleeping before entering the home. Gypsy said to Mommy, Dad, and Dearest that on the night of the murder, she and Dee Dee gave each other manicures and Gypsy put Dee Dee to bed, promising to be a good girl. And then after Dee Dee fell asleep, Gypsy signaled to Nick that it was okay for her to come in. She went and hid in the bathroom and Nick let himself in, and then he went and stabbed Dee Dee and went and got Gypsy when he was done.
Where did he stab her?
In her bedroom.
No, like on her body.
I don't know. I didn't see anything.
So it was like Psycho, just
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So Gypsy Rose told this. Why not kill her herself?
I don't know, because she didn't want to get. So that's like one of the biggest speculations is like, okay, why did Gypsy have Nick do it?
Right. Why did you manipulate this
doing
kid?
it herself? So it's like, did Gypsy knew she wasn't sick. Mm-hmm. So Gypsy's just as manipulative as her mom in that way, to where she got Nick to take the blame for her. So Dee Dee was found on June 14th in her home dead because Gypsy wrote on Dee Dee's Facebook, "That bitch is dead." And it immediately sparked concern from Dee Dee's friends. Mm-hmm. And when they were unable to get in touch with Dee Dee, they contacted the police, and then that's how the police found her home.
Okay.
There was another thing that they wrote on her Facebook, and it was like, I gutted that bitch like a pig, or like I sprayed her blood around like she bled like a pig's, like something like gross like that. Jesus. That I didn't put in here for that reason, because I was like, that's a little...
You said, it's a little much.
I don't really like that. So after finding Dee Dee's body, police were also able to trace the IP address of the Facebook post back to Big Bend, Wisconsin.
Big Ben, shout out.
We all love Wisconsin.
Yeah, shout out Sean.
Shout out Sean. And that's where Gypsy and Nick were staying. Police raided Nick's family home, and they arrested him and Gypsy on charges of murder and a felony armed criminal action. And that was per the Springfield newsletter.
Okay.
Later. So in 2016, on July 5th, Gypsy pled guilty to Dee Dee's murder in the second degree and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Following Dee Dee's death, Gypsy's arrest, news came to light about how Gypsy was a victim of Munchausen's by proxy. Calling the case extraordinary and unusual, County Prosecutor Dan Patterson said he decided not to seek first-degree charge against Gypsy. Okay. Because she was being like manipulated and abused her whole life.
Well, first degree is like you actually did it?
First degree is premeditated.
Oh, premeditated.
Second degree is right.
Oh.
Which is like the other,
But again, it's one of those things. It's like, it's hard to say. Again, like you're right. She may have only seen like, there's no other way for me to live.
Right. In a weird way, it might have been self-defense.
Yeah.
But
you can make a case for it. Yeah.
So she pleaded guilty to second degree, and they decided not to charge her for first degree. Now, in November 2018, Gypsy testifies during Nick's trial. And his trial, Gypsy testified that she came up with the plan to kill her mother because it was the only way she could escape her life of abuse. While no one disputed whether Nick killed Dee Dee, his attorneys argued that he was manipulated by Gypsy to kill her mom. And so he should have his sentence also reduced to second-degree murder.
Got it.
Which, I think they had a good argument there. But days later, Nick was found guilty of first-degree murder, and he was also found guilty of armed criminal action, and he's currently still in prison.
What, they sentenced him to 25 to life, or?
First-degree murder is, life. So.
Jesus.
Yeah. In December 2023, Gypsy spoke with People magazine in an interview ahead of her release from prison, because she was released this year in 2024. During an interview, she said she was deeply regretful about her mother's murder, recalling how she was desperate to get out of the situation. She said, quote, "If I had another chance to redo everything, I don't know if I would go back to when I was a child and tell my aunts and uncles that I'm not sick and mommy makes me sick." Wait. Yeah. And Gypsy said, or if I would travel back to the point of that conversation with Nick and tell him, you know what, I'm going to go tell the police everything. I kind of struggle with that.
Yeah.
She added that nobody will ever hear me say that I'm glad she dead or I'm proud of what I did, but she regrets it every single day. Oh, on December 28th, Gypsy was released from prison after she served 85% of her sentence. And she served part of it prior to her prison sentence, so while she was waiting for her trial.
Oh, so they did, what is it called? The term for it, right?
Yeah.
Time served, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to put this out there. If you suspect child abuse, call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD or 1-800-422-4453. Or go to childhelp.org. All these calls are toll-free and confidential. The hotline's available 24/7 and then is available in more than 170 languages.
Wow. So it's like a worldwide, is it an international hotline?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that was pretty short, but everybody's talking about it. And you said that you didn't know too much about it, so I thought I'd...
Yeah, I didn't know too many of the details there. But you're right. I get what people say, it's an extraordinary case just because it's
right
with so many of these, and I think so many criminal cases are
extraordinary.
Just so you can see both sides, or you know what I mean. You can. It's hard to put yourself in those shoes. So yeah, I can see that because, like you said, I mean, this woman's making her sit in a wheelchair. She's putting a feeding tube in her. She's giving her medication for stuff she doesn't have.
Right.
I heard that she shaved her head though, right?
She shaved her head. She was shaving her head. Because she had leukemia. So she'd be like, well, your hair's going to fall out anyways, so let me shave your head.
And it's like, I'm not sick though.
Also, her teeth fell out. Oh. Her teeth got so rotted from the medication and just not taking care of them because Dee Dee didn't really take care of them, that she ended up having to have her teeth pulled and because they started to fall out.
Oh God.
So if you look at some of the pictures with her, you'll see her, she has these front four teeth. She doesn't have them.
Because they rotted out.
Yeah. I think she must have veneers now. But.
And it's got to be extreme because she was so young at the time. I mean, 20 years old and you already lost teeth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Usually people don't lose teeth till later on down the road just because it takes so long for that to occur. But yeah, I can see why they say it's extraordinary, just because I do think it's unfair that the kid gets premeditated murder and she doesn't.
Yeah.
Just because, you can make that case where it's she convinced him to do it, or a person he loved asked her, if we're going to be together, or if you really love me, almost essentially if you really love me and want to be with me, this is what you have to do. Right. Which, what do people say? If someone really loves you, it's unconditional. It doesn't come with, hey, this is what you have to do to be with me.
The stipulations.
Right.
Yeah. It's so crazy. And I think if they had looked back, I'm sure they did pull up the messages that Gypsy had been sending Nick back and forth. They would have seen the little bit of manipulation, but Nick was head over heels and wanted to do anything for her. So.
Yeah. He was he older than her? And
he was
great.
Just 26 years old when he committed the murder.
So just a little bit older than her.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so just a little bit. But they met on the Christian dating website.
God, I would tell him we got to shut this Christian dating site down. It's getting people killed.
Seriously.
People killed.
It's probably not the first time somebody's been killed from a Christian dating website.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a weird case. Like I said, just because you're. And I feel bad for Gypsy in the sense that she feels bad about the action she took against her mother. Because I'm pretty sure your mom didn't feel bad about hurting you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but also you're not a sociopath like your mother was. Like,
right. And well, everything's hindsight 2020.
Right.
Are there things that I did 10 years ago that now I'm like, oh, I fucking shouldn't have done that? Yeah. But, at the time you didn't know better. And who are you supposed to trust? Your parents are supposed to be the people that you trust 100%. They would never tell you anything wrong. Mm-hmm. They would never hurt you.
Yeah. They're supposed to steer me in the right direction. Yeah.
So when she was like, her mom was telling her that she was sick, she was like, I guess I must be. Right. Even though I can get out of my wheelchair and walk around at night when my mom's sleeping. Right. But I guess there is something wrong with me. Like, you're not taught to question your parents.
And it's got to be frustrating for her mom too, because it's like anything. Like, you follow your parents, like you said, you follow your parents, not blindly, but like you said, she's telling me I'm sick, so I must be sick. It isn't until you're older that you're like, I'm not. Like, and you start questioning things and you start having your own beliefs and your own, your own ideas and thoughts. And so she was probably just like, fuck this. Like, right. Like I'm not doing it anymore. I mean, having to sit in a wheelchair all the time. Yeah. Anytime you're in public, knowing you can just get up and walk, like, right. I couldn't imagine that. I mean, somebody was like, you have to sit in this chair everywhere you go for 2 weeks. I'd go insane. Yeah. You'd want to just be like, let me get up, like, do something.
Yeah. It's
But she's out though, huh?
She's out.
So she's out. Served her time. I'm sure I'm assuming she'll have money just because of the documentaries and movies and stuff, right?
I believe so. I don't think she's get the act on Hulu. She wasn't consulted for that. Okay. So she won't get anything for that. But I would assume the Mommy, Dad, and Dearest documentary she gets stuff for, and all the stuff she's been in a shit ton of interviews lately. Right. So.
Probably, People. He said she's probably doing Oprah.
She did get married while she was in prison.
To Nicholas?
No, to
someone else.
Yeah, to someone else.
Oh my God.
And they got married. They got married a couple years. They've been together, married for at least 2 years, but they met as pen pals.
Like, he wrote to her.
Yeah.
And was
they got married in 2022.
So he wrote to her and was like. So he's watching these documentaries and he's like, "Ooh, I like her. Like, that's my."
Yeah, and he looks old too. Let's see if I can find out.
Yeah. Okay. See, now it's making me feel even more bad for Nicholas. Mm-hmm. I see he got manipulated and murdering this woman. Got set up for first-degree murder when the person who manipulated you got second degree.
Like, he's at least 10 years older than her. She's 32. Yeah. Now.
Yeah, he looks a little bit older.
So she was, that was 2 years ago? So she's 30 here?
Yeah.
Late 30s, early 40s. Yeah,
this is other pictures that they're showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, I got set up for first-degree murder. The person who manipulated me got second, is now out when I'm in life from prison, and is married to somebody else now. Mm-hmm. Yep. You know what? I feel like the ending of this story, like the poetic justice in this, would be that Ryan gets out one day on parole somehow and murders Gypsy Rose. Like, I feel like that's the poetic justice in this whole thing.
That was extreme.
I'm just imagine that though. Imagine the anger that somebody would feel. Again, you might not. I mean, after so many years, I do think that stewing on something like that for so long, eventually you will just be like, it's eating away at me. Like, I can't destroy myself being angry about it. But yeah, man, to me that'd be just like the poetic ending. Yeah. And I'd be like, well, everybody won, I guess.
That'd be poetic justice in like the weirdest way.
That's what I would say at the end. So I guess everybody won. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, this is not an advocation for me wanting.
We don't believe in eye for an eye.
Yeah,
We've talked about this on the podcast.
I'm not saying I want her to be hurt. Like, honestly, I hope she moves on from this and kind of lives her best life and adjusts as easily as she can, and hopefully her and her dude stay happy. And because I think that would be a good ending for her too. That you escaped it, you did something bad,
right?
You paid your time for it, and now you just have a chance to kind of start over.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what she does these next few years. If she's obviously doing all these interviews right now, but it'll be interesting to see if she lays low or if she...
There's like a show on A&E or something.
Yeah, like what's going to happen? And with the way our world is, it's insanely wild. So I'm sure... I don't think she's going to lay low. Like maybe if this was early 2000s,
right.
she got released.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, because they were like, oh, we're doing an A&E show like Gypsy Rose after the blah, blah, like after the fact or something. People would definitely watch it.
Yeah, well, the fact that she's, like I said, she's already doing interviews and she has like a TikTok and...
She has a TikTok?
Yeah.
Oh, my, what's her TikTok handle?
I don't know what her TikTok handle is, but like I saw like a stitch of one of her TikToks and she was like getting ready for an interview and she was like, my top is from Zara. My shorts are from Zara. My shoes are from here.
Oh, so she's blending right in.
I'm headed into my interview.
Oh, so she's already got it down.
Yeah.
I'd be like, whoever your PR person is, they did good.
Great.
Yeah, because
they need a raise. And then I like went through the comments and they were like, "Girl, we're boycotting Zara right now, but good for you."
Good for you.
And I was like, no. Why are we? Well, first of all, why are we boycotting Zara? Second of all,
they support Israel or something?
I don't know.
There's so many companies now.
I know.
I was like, it's like McDonald's, Starbucks, those two right there. I'm like, that half the population goes to those places all the time. Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, we won't get into that one.
But I've even though it's been very tough, I haven't gone to Starbucks in a long time, so it's very tough for me.
I go to Starbucks a lot.
You're like, I don't think it is. You don't drink coffee, so.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
I don't drink coffee. It hasn't been tough for me at all. Because I remember my sister telling me about it, and she was like, "Oh, with Starbucks?" I was like, "Oh, I was like, I don't know." She was like, "Just don't go there." I was like, I don't. So
yeah,
that'll be easy. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, I'll keep doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
McDonald's, a little bit tougher. I don't like McDonald's all the time, but there's just times where it's like
when you're drunk and you're playing Mario Party and you get that box of mushrooms and it opens up and it looks like a Big Mac box. and
you're
then
like,
you
I need
order
a Big
McDonald's at midnight and half your order doesn't come.
And you're all, this is great. Yeah. I'm like, sometimes just like a double quarter pounder and a Sprite does wonders. But I digress.
So good.
No, this is a good case. I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really have to start rolling out the episodes. I feel like we have a few. What do we have, like 4 or 5?
Yeah,
recorded right now.
Yeah.
So, we still have to get
with our editor and producer.
Yeah, we still have to get one edited. If you want, we can edit this one just because, like you said, you want it to be sort of relevant. And I mean, we can just edit this one and
just
pop it up as the next episode.
Yeah,
like talking about Gypsy Rose.
I definitely want the last one I did to be released though.
And I'll say, shirt is from Scumdog. Sweats are from Costco. Shoes are from New Balance. Let's go.
My sweatshirt's from Loverboy.
Yeah, there you go. Your hat is what?
Routine Baseball.
Routine Baseball.
My jeans are Levi.
Your shoes?
I don't think I'm allowed to say my shoe brand.
Is it bad?
I don't know. I feel like they get a lot of shit.
I'll assume what it is. Anyways, but we'll get this edited. I'm sure we'll be able to pop it out. We'll still have to keep up to date on the socials.
Yeah. Drop us a note in the comments. Do you like the shorter episodes? Do we want longer episodes? I know this one's definitely going to be our shortest one to date, but it was pretty concise. I feel like that there's so much information out there that it was hard to kind of boil it down. Yeah. And I do think people are right, especially if we put it out every couple weeks or month. I think short episodes will do. But who knows, if you guys would be like, hey, if you release one every month, make it more in depth. You can always do that also. Just make Amber work harder researching the case. She has so much time. So she has so much time. Yeah, she has so much time in her hands. She can just keep researching. But
Yeah, I definitely will look for a case as well. I did have a good time doing the one that I did.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully
Yeah, I've
maybe
got
I
a
can.
couple prepared, so maybe you can go in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Sounds good. Appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, follow the social. It's at Speaking Spatter Pod on Instagram. And what is it? Is it Apple Music? Or is it just Spotify?
Spotify.
And Spotify, it's Speaking Spatter Podcast.
Speaking Spatter Podcast. And as
Blah, blah, blah.
as always, I'm Amber.
I'm Josh.
Remember to support your local drag, and thanks for tuning in.
Bye, guys.
Bye.